Okay, let's get started here. Welcome to this Sunday School webinar. And if you're new here for the first time, these are educational, motivational, and inspiration for you to start your personal development or continue the journey of personal development. And, we bring up some actual topics. It could be anything, but mostly we talk about principles because those are the ones you got to get hold of because they never change. And when you do that, your business will thrive, your life will thrive, everything will change. And sometimes we have subjects that, we bring it back or we do repetition. And that's okay because repetition is the mother of skill. Anyway, we welcome you everyone here at this webinar today. And today's topic is keep it simple. We're going to go through some really amazing things here that we do every day, we don't think about. So you will see here a little bit later. Anyway, welcome. So, why are we here? Well, I love this quote. Actually, took it from a great friend of mine, Mr. Bob Crisp. And he is a gentleman that built huge organization in the 70s and has a lot of knowledge. I saw he used it, so I stole it from him and I'm using it right now because I think it's so good. And what does it say? Well, you can read for yourself. Leader of one, leader of many. If you can't lead one, you can't lead any. And I think the person who came up with this quote was meaning that we have to lead ourselves first. Because if we can't control ourselves through discipline and building our character and, you know, doing the right things, how can we teach anyone else? Well, it's impossible. And unfortunately, that's how most people do. They actually try to lead other people without first leading themselves. And I bring this quote back from last Sunday school webinar from Robert Kiyosaki. When you focus on your education first, then the money will follow. That's why we have these webinars, so that you can educate yourself, you can take notes. And when you're on these webinars, have a piece of pen and paper because it's always great to take notes. You can come up with some own ideas during the webinars. You have to write it down, and when you write things down, your brain will pick it up. He says that. And I repeat this, I say this a lot. Why do I say this a lot? Because it's so true. So being rich has nothing to do with a bank account. That's the sum of money or financial stuff that you have acquired. But being rich is something else. It's the knowledge, it's the education, it's the empiric knowledge that you acquire. Empiric knowledge means lived through knowledge. So that's why, you know, you can't give what you don't have. You got to acquire it yourself first, and then you can give it away. And that's the purpose. And coming back to this, for the people who are new, uh, Zig Ziglar, great motivational speaker, he always said that you got to be before you can do. So you got to be someone before you can do something. That's why you need the education. Then you do, and then you can have, so that you can give. Because if you don't give, you can't keep it. Well, that's new for some people, but it's so true. You got to be a giver. And last Sunday, we brought up some characteristics of a leader. I will not go through them like I did back then, but I will just mention them here because it's so important. Because that's why we're here on these Sunday school webinars. It's to grow as persons, as this is a leadership webinar, how to become a leader. And pace is so important for leadership. Leaders are setting the pace. Speed is everything. So you do everything with speed, because if you take too long to do stuff, you know, the world is not waiting for you. You got to go out there and do it. Be attractive. You only get one chance to make a first impression. It's both about how you dress and, be attractive in that way, but it's also your personality. Who are you? Be attractive, be nice, be humble, be courteous, and think about people before you think about yourself. Sacrifice. You got to be a servant. You got to serve the people. So, and you got to sacrifice. You got to sacrifice time, money. You got to fight to become successful. And then, of course, a leader is always responsible. Always responsible for what's happening. And some people ask the question because they don't really succeed, they don't go all the way because they probably don't have webinars like this, or they don't have leadership, they don't have people who to teach them, or to show them. But also people who have these webinars and have teachers that tell them, some people will just not succeed. And why is that? Well, I think it's a simple explanation, and that is, fear is the number one success killer. Either it's fear in the now that they produce, that we are producing ourselves, actually, because we are in control of our thinking. We will not go through this on this webinar, but you choose what you're going to think. Never underestimate that. But also you have old thinking that will come up and make choices for you. You have old thinking that will create feelings, and feelings never go by feelings, because feelings are lying. You know why is that? Well, because the thought becomes before the feeling in the now. Anyway, so fear is the number one success killer, because people make a choice to go into fear. And what do we mean by that? Well, on the left side where fear is and flee, that on that side is all the bad stuff. The people who try to take shortcuts is on the left side. People who are not working hard is on the left side. And why are you not working hard? Well, probably because they are fearful. People are more fearful than you think. Some people actually fear success, so they have to destroy their business because they're afraid of success. And on the left side is, lying, stealing, cheating, all the bad stuff is actually comes out of fear. All the good stuff on the right side comes out of what? Yeah. So a leader It's got to be on the right side. Leader always got to correct himself to come over to the right side. And we talk a lot about action is a great fear killer. So when you take action, whether you feel like it or you don't think you have the time, you don't feel like it, you don't want to do it anyway, because that's discipline, and that is taking action will kill all the fear that you have for something. And maybe not so much for you that are here on this webinar, but the people that you're going to train, the people that you're going to lead, teach them to take action, because action will kill the fear. When people are in doubt, they don't know what to do, and they take action, doubt disappears, fear disappears. So action is the great fear killer. But if it's so easy to do, just listen to a webinar like this and you get, why don't people succeed? Because it's easy not to. It's as easy not to do as it is to do. So success is a continuous journey of making the right decisions. Write that down. Among other things, of course. But mostly, the people who not succeed are people who will not act on the instructions because they have an ego, or they think they're better than someone, or they misunderstood the whole purpose of being here on planet Earth. So they think that they have to figure out themselves, or why should I listen to him or her? So people who not succeed are the people who doesn't act on instructions. Because I could give anyone a 12-point list or 10-point whatever to do, and if that person followed those like 100%, every point, every instruction, they will become successful. What do people do? Well, they cross over some and say, no, that's not for me. I'm not going to do that, or no, that's too hard, or so they make up their own plan and they will fail. So follow instructions. So today I will go through, I promised you something interesting. I find this interesting because we all want to be happy. We all want to be, have more and do more. And some people think that the money is the solution for everything. Money is not solution for everything. It's good. It's good to have, but it's also a product. It's a byproduct of who you are. So the the bank account that you have is a byproduct of who you are. Not in every cases, because not 100%, because there are people who inherit, or people who, they do illegal stuff, or they do stuff, they lie, or and they have for a short period of time some money. But I'm talking long, the whole life. You got to build your character by discipline. You got to, do your personal development every day. And when you do that, no one can take that away from you. So don't chase happiness, because if you do the right things, happiness will come chase you. It's the opposite. So when you forget about the happiness and start doing your personal development, happiness will come chasing you. So I may get a couple of examples here. The body, we're soul, we're body, we're mind. We're a fantastic creation. You're created to become successful. That's the purpose. And for some people, success is one thing. For other people, it's another thing. It's all individual. But we are a fantastic creation. Don't you agree? And science can tell us today about our chemicals in the body and stuff. And this is interesting because we have many hormones and chemicals in our body, but I will bring a couple of examples here for you. you know what does this have to do with personal development? Well, I will come to that later. It has a lot to do with personal development. So dopamine, the reward chemical, it's actually creates we create dopamine by, for example, when we set goals and we achieve those goals, we get a dopamine kick. So the reward chemical tells the body to do it again. you know so you will start a domino effect when you start setting goals. That's why it's so important to set goals, because when you reach a little goal, then the dopamine will tell the body, do that again. That was fun. Do it again. So eating food is also creating dopamine, and sleeping. But we should be careful with those two, because those two can be, uh, yeah, could actually, if we overdo those two, it's not good. And that's, you can also see that why people actually, overeat, because it gives them the feeling of a reward, but it's the wrong kind of reward. So we got to be careful. But this is just an example. This is not a, course in how to eat. So, so dopamine, but you can see achieving a goal, taking action will give you dopamine. Then we have this, then we have this guy, endorphin, the painkiller. So uh, we need this because this also gives us a great feeling in the body when we exercise, when we laugh, when we listening to music or entertainment. We get an endorphin in the body. We produce endorphins, and endorphins we need because we all need these chemicals. But you see, the people, if you remember Maslow's pyramid, the people in the lower levels who don't take action, who don't do personal development, who don't dare, who don't make decisions to go against fear, they're not creating these chemicals. So they try to do in another way, which will lead to destruction. That's another webinar. Then oxytocin, the love hormone, oxytocin, which we get from physical touch. So you can see that when governments close down countries and they tell us to stay away from each other, it's not good. We need that. We need physical touch. We need socializing. We need, you know, petting animals and helping others. So that's another chemical that we produce. So that was number three. And then number four, serotonin. And this is so important. This chemical, people with less serotonin, they are think they are depressed, you know, because I don't believe in depression. Excuse me, I will explain that in another webinar. But I'm not saying that people are feeling bad, but I don't believe in depression. Depression is the body's function to not take care of problems. Anyway, that's another webinar. But anyway, so without serotonin, we will feel that we're depressed. We feel low. We feel like we're useless. And, so we need serotonin. And we get that through sun and being in nature, meditation and prayer. And I read somewhere massage, I put that in there too. And some scientists also said that you eating bananas, yeah, will get you serotonin. So what does this have to do with personal development? Well, again, look at this sentence and tie that into those four chemicals. People who don't um, write down goals, you tell them to. You start them in the business, you tell them, write down goals, and they don't. So writing down a goal is so important, because if you don't write it down, you will never reach it. And you will never get that chemical, that reward. So, and people don't act on instructions. What is that? Well, People who don't go to events, they don't socialize. People who don't show up for meetings, they and so on and so on. So those four chemicals, if you took notes, you can see that they actually are inside everything we do every day. If we do it, if we act on instructions, we can actually create our own success with chemicals, you know. And people who do this, they don't know about it. They do it, but they get the chemicals. They don't know about it. But now you guys know about it. So it's a fun thing to know. That's why I brought it up. So, so these chemicals is so important because when imagine you create habits of doing all those four um, chemical creators, then you're on a certain road to success and happiness because that's just the way we are created. That's our body. That's this beautiful life that you have. But your core belief system is always making decisions. That's where you need to change. That's why we keep repeating that. And how do we change our core belief system? Well, that will be in the next webinar. But we actually you actually are changing your core belief system right now, you know, because you're listening to this webinar. And remember last Sunday I said unsuccessful people, they have a habit to dwell in circumstances that they don't want. That's what they are producing. That's what they are programming themselves with. Because if you can never become anything else than what you think about most of the day. So if you think about things you don't want, that's what you're creating. So you got to turn those thoughts around and think about what you do want. That's what you need to think about. That's what you need to go after. And maybe some people go, yeah, I know that. You know, that's all good that you know that, but are you doing it? That's the question. Are you taking action? Because your core belief system is where your decision making is made. 95% of your decisions. So your core belief system will make decision of action or no action, or with the 5% to take control in the now with discipline. And this is what every successful person has to realize, you know, that the hardest walk is walking alone, because when you start a journey like this, there will be so many people against you, and people they don't believe. Some people will believe in you, but some people will don't believe, you know, because unconsciously everyone knows that this is the right way, but they don't. They try to take the shortcut. They try to, you know, hang around uh, with beer drinking buddies and think they're going to be successful and make jokes about other people who are actually striving out there and doing something. But so the hardest walk is the walk you walk alone, but it's also make you the strongest. So, guys, the greatest gift you can give someone is your time. So you see, building business, being out there with people, you're giving them your time. Because when you're giving them your time, you're giving them a portion of your life that you never will get back. I know how that is. I was out on the road, I was building, you know, hassling and training and doing, and I almost miss my first son's, you know, first years. Not totally, of course, but you know, I can look back and I was working really hard for him, of course, but you know, so that's time you never get back. But if you going the extra mile, there's no doubt about you will be successful. Because if you do that, the best of your life will be the rest of your life. Because you're not who you think you are. You are who you think you are. Hey guys, Have a wonderful day, rest of your Sunday, wherever you are in the world. And remember, go out in the world and change people, help people to change the way they think and be the change in the world. It starts with you. Remember to be happy, joyous, and free and prosperous, but most of all, free. Thank you.